going on, Dealer Talk family? So have you ever wondered where your website traffic is coming from? If you're not looking at this on a monthly basis, stay tuned because I'm about to show you how to do that using Google Analytics. Let's check it out.
All right, so obviously first thing, log into your Google Analytics portal or homepage, and we're going to go into acquisition. Actually, we're going to go into audience, and then we're going to go into geos, and then we're going to go into location. And then the first thing we're going to see is location at a broad level. So, we'll see obviously United States, but we'll see other countries that may, where we're picking up some activity. But as you can see here, most of our activity is coming from the U.S., which is obviously where we want to be. I always encourage you to look at a couple months out. I like 90-day windows, right? So maybe we'll go back to November because this will give us a little bit more, just a little bit more data. Plus, especially if you're doing it for the first time, then I would go maybe 90 days, even 6 months out, and then just make it consistent, right, or regular so that you only have to check it once a month. Then we're going to go into United States, and then we'll be able to see, right, where the activity is coming from. So the majority of the activity for this particular website is coming from, relevant areas, right? So like Utah and Nevada. But there's some areas here that are suspicious, like right, California, Virginia. I mean, Virginia in particular is on the other side of the country. Illinois is another one that stands out. When you consider the total activity for the website, and then you take that into consideration, I mean, there's considerable activity coming from outside markets. Now, I would look at the performance, right? What's the bounce rate? Kansas, for example, seems to, obviously have very low performance with bounce rates at 80+%, minimal pages per session, and then we're looking at average duration on site is 2 seconds. The other component to this is I would add the segments, the SRP and VDP views. If you don't know how to do this, or if you haven't seen my video on how to do this, I'm going to put a link to it in the comments, so make sure to go there and you can check it out. But this will also give us another kind of subset of information, right? So for example, California, even though it's 5 hours away from our primary market, the activity is pretty strong. I mean, 429 out of the 729 users within the last 90 days are converted to a VDP with a 37% bounce rate, for close to 5 pages per session. The average duration has been 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So I would look at California as a market to do some sort of testing, right? Nevada is another one that I would look at doing some testing. But then we have places like Virginia, again, which is on the other side of the country, 560 total users, 365 VDPs at close to 65% bounce rate, less than 2 pages per session, and average duration on site has been a second. So obviously this would be a market that I wouldn't look into. As a matter of fact, I would look at my information on my website to figure out why Virginia is populating so much. So the other thing is you can, like let's say we talked about California being a potential market that we could impact, right, as far as doing some sort of offer or something to that effect. I would click into California and figure out within California which areas, right? You can get that specific where you can actually look at where most of that activity within that particular state, if you will, that activity is coming from. So, and you can get really creative here and come up with some strategies to impact those potential buyers that are browsing your inventory, even though they're from distances that may not seem relevant, because they're obviously spending some quality time on the site.
All right, so there you have it, folks. If you're not looking at this on a monthly basis, I would highly encourage you to do so for a couple of different reasons. Number one, if you're getting a lot of activity from areas that are outside your primary market, this could be a red flag, right? There could be some content issues within your website that's causing your information to appear in places that you're not relevant. Remember, obviously you want traffic to the website, but you also want traffic that you can impact. You want to be able to get in front of people that can either purchase a vehicle from you or that can service their vehicle at your dealership. The other way to look at this is inventory based, right? If you have a lot of high scarcity units and you're drawing attention to yourself from, places that maybe are too far as distance, you can use this information to create a strategy to bridge the gap between customers browsing or potential buyers browsing your website, and actually owning that inventory. So for example, I would look at the top 2 locations, make sure that the activity is healthy, right? So low bounce rate, multiple pages per session, a lot of time spent on the site. And then I would look at the zip codes within those particular locations, and I would serve up an offer to those zip codes. So as those zip codes are browsing your inventory, I would populate some sort of offer that talks about credit that they can apply towards shipping the vehicle or owning that vehicle as a way to kind of close that gap. So anyway, hopefully you found this information educational. Feel free to reach out. And as usual, I'm here to help. We'll talk soon. Take care. Bye-bye.